Matthew Nix is the Crows coach. He joins us. Nixie, we spoke to Craig McRae last week and I sort of said it's hard to get a read on Collingwood and your expectations of the year. Now, when I've heard you speak, you're still preaching a little bit of patience and the talk of improvement, but it's not all going to go smoothly. Can I ask you what your expectations of the year are as a side?
Yeah, well, there's a few. I mean, we have expectations as a young group. The last thing I want to do is blunting any expectation with our playing group. We are as hungry as any side in the competition. We showed last year that we can beat the best sides on our day, and we still go into every game with the expectation that we're going to win that game of footy. There is a reality though to where we sit, and we're the youngest team in the competition, the youngest squad in the competition, and we will put out a side of 22 each week. We're going to knock that off easily. We'll be the youngest team every round we play. We got a couple of kids in this year that we're really, really pleased with what they've brought straight away. Josh Rochelli's, our first pick in the draft. We targeted him, reasonably hard. We didn't have a choice on whether he was there or not, but he was, so we couldn't have been more pleased. And he's shown, just in a short period of time that he's a mature young man, and he's competitive and he fits the style of play that we want to bring. Jake Saligo's another one that's probably surprised me a little to the level he's at already, just his maturity and so on. So those two guys, they come in as they haven't played a single game, so all of a sudden our average games drops right off, but they're ready to play AFL footy. Now, are they going to be consistent every week in, week out? Well, history will say no. It's a tough game when you're that age and you don't have the experience. You haven't been through the game for 5 to 10 years. We'll play against the team this weekend in Port Adelaide that have done that. They've, right across the list, they've played in finals footy. They haven't quite got there the last few years, but everyone has huge respect for what they've done. We know they'll bring a game plan. They'll bring a game or a level of play that will be a minimum, of 95% of their capacity. So our challenge is to do that week in, week out. The expectation for us is to walk off footy fields this year and be proud of what we put out there. And that's get it to 95% of how good we can be. Now, easier said than done.
Nixie, we just talked about your contract extension, and the first thing that comes up when a coach gets extended, and it's usually from my right-hand man here in Cornsey, who was going to come and steal Matty Nix? He was going nowhere. Why they re-signed him so early? What does that do for you as that person, as that coach, to get the extension? What does it do for you internally amongst the Adelaide Crows set up to have that security?
Yeah, good question. Look, from my point of view, it's not so much for me, and I know that sounds cliche, but it's always nice to have security for your family and just to know that this is what we've now got set for the next 3 years. But for me, it's more from a playing group and for the group of staff and for the department that we have here. It's to say we're locked in. We're on a journey together, and part of that journey is it's not going to stop necessarily in the next 6 months if things aren't going exactly as planned. Over the first, say, 6 weeks of the season, we all know that can still happen. So don't get me wrong. But for our players, for my players to sit there and say, hey, the club and we back in our coach the same way we do with players when we renew their contract. There's a danger with players to go too big and renew them for 6 years, and all of a sudden, the complacency sets in. It's not intentional. It's just this subconscious, I've got a contract locked in. But for a coach, I think it's just a really good look for a footy club. It's a good feel around the place that we're all on a journey together and we're locked in.
Nixie, you're always so generous with your time, mate. We appreciate it. Good luck against Port Adelaide tomorrow.